Welcome to Anime Recaps. In this video, we will explain Overpowered, from commonplace to world's strongest. This anime tells the story of a high school student who is often bullied by his classmates. One day, he and his classmates are summoned to a fantasy world and assigned to save humanity. Unlike his friend, he has only received an inferior transmutation skill with no real offensive power. He was then betrayed by one of his classmates, who knocked him to the bottom of the abyss. Can he find his way home and continue to fight to survive and transform himself from an ordinary person to the strongest? Let's find out in Overpowered, from commonplace to world's strongest. Overpowered, from commonplace to world's strongest tells the story of Hajime Nagumo, a 17-year-old boy, and his classmates who were sent to an alternate world called Tortoise to aid in their war against the demons. In Tortoise, Hajime and his friends are treated like heroes as they are on a mission to save the lives of mankind. However, while his classmates were blessed with impressive abilities that were very useful in battle, Hajime only acquired an inferior transmutation skill and had no real offensive power, so that he was underestimated by everyone and was often targeted for bullying by his peers. However, one of his classmates, a girl named Kaori Shirasaki, said that it would be easy to become a hero to fight evil if one was already strong. In contrast, it takes true strength to fight evil if one knows one is weak, so Kaori never underestimated Hajime, even though he didn't have as much power as the others. When his classmates were about to go on a mission to conquer the Great Orcus Labyrinth, Hajime planned to come along. However, Kaori tried to prevent him because she was worried about his safety, which she didn't think was tough enough to deal with the dangerous threat they might face in the labyrinth. But Hajime persisted, even Kaori couldn't stop him. When Hajime and his classmates were in the labyrinth, they faced the monsters that inhabited the labyrinth. When Kaori and the others were surrounded by monsters, Hajime tried to save them. After he managed to help his friends and was about to save himself, unexpectedly, one of Hajime's classmates, a young man named Daisukiyama, deliberately attacked him with a fireball spell and caused him to fall into the bottomless abyss, only because Daisuke was jealous of seeing Kaori show attention to Hajime the night before. At the bottom of the most bottomless abyss, Hajime encountered a terrifying monster nicknamed the Cloud Bear, which then ate one of his arms. After struggling with all his strength to fight the monster, he finally defeated the Cloud Bear and survived. However, Hajime soon realized that he had been betrayed by his classmate. He reached his limit with anger, hunger, fear of death, and despair. All these feelings mixed with his desire to survive at all costs, causing his gentle personality to turn into someone cold, cruel, brutal, unstable, and sadistic. Hajime then abandoned most of his kind and generous nature, which he had before, and exchanged it for a cold and indifferent attitude, capable of even leaving someone to death without a second thought. Hajime was determined to become stronger to get out of that place, avenge those who had bullied him and return to his original world. He then defeated and devoured the flesh of a pair of wolf monsters. However, he immediately felt pain from eating the highly poisonous monster meat. After he drank the healing liquid in the abyss to counter the toxic effects of the monster's flesh, he felt that his body was starting to heal and become stronger and more muscular. However, it caused drastic changes to his body. His hair turned white, his eyeballs turned red, and his body got red veins like tattoos. Realizing this, Hajime started his struggle to become stronger by defeating the monsters. He then came face to face with two giant monsters guarding a room. After successfully defeating the monsters, Hajime then entered the room and was very surprised to find a girl being chained and sealed. The girl told him that her name was Yu and that she was a vampire with the unique skill to regenerate her body. Yu then told Hajime that her uncle and vassals betrayed her and sealed her in that room. Knowing that Yu had the same past as him, both of whom had been betrayed, Hajime decided to save her. After rescuing Yu, Hajime again faced the monster guarding the room, but this time, it was stronger than the previous one. Hajime and Yu then teamed up to face the monster and managed to defeat it, although Yu lost a lot of magic energy. Therefore, Yu was biting Hajime's neck and sucking out his blood to recover her strength. Long story short, when Hajime and Yu reached the 100th floor, they encountered a mighty Hydra monster because one of the Hydra's heads had the power to heal itself. Not only that, but Hajime got into trouble when Yu was hypnotized by one of the Hydra's heads, causing her to hallucinate, so Hajime kissed Yu to wake her up. After Yu regained her senses, the two of them worked for hand in hand to defeat the Hydra monster by putting all their strength into it. Hajime and Yu finally defeated the giant Hydra monster, although he had to lose his right eye and collapse unconscious. Because they managed to defeat the Hydra monster and reach the 100th floor, Hajime and Yu managed to conquer the Great Orcus Labyrinth and met the creator and the caretaker of the labyrinth, a man named Oscar Orcus. Oscar then shared the concept of the Great Orcus Labyrinth with Hajime and Yu, namely giving strength and experience to the challenger so that they could overcome their own limit. Oscar gives the knowledge of creation magic to Hajime and Yu because they managed to overcome its trial. Creation magic grants the user control over any object, structure, or mineral, allowing the user to shape or transform them in any way they wish. Before leaving the Great Orcus Labyrinth, Hajime planned to learn some new magic and create a mechanical arm with his magic to replace the missing arm. After that, he decided to find another great labyrinth and conquer it so that he could obtain ancient magic power that could bring him back to his original world. In his adventure, Hajime took Yu along and promised to take her to her original world so they could live together. After exiting the Great Orcus Labyrinth, Hajime and Yu met a girl named Shihalia. She is a rabbit man with a unique skill that allows her to view the future, especially when her life is in danger. She turned to Hajime and Yu to help save her race, the Halia tribe. Yu agreed to Shi's request, as long as she was willing to be their guide while in the foggy forest. After they reached an agreement, Hajime then went into the misty forest with Yu and Shi. Arriving there, Hajime met the Halia tribe hiding there. After they were saved by Hajime and Yu, they went back to the Sea of Trees as their guide in exchange for their protection. However, since they had 10 days until they could reach the labyrinth, Hajime decided to train them to defend themselves. His training was so effective that it transformed them into bloodthirsty warriors. After rescuing the Halia tribe and bringing them back to where they came from, the Sea of Trees, Hajime and Yu received information about a labyrinth within the area, the Haltina Labyrinth. However, Haltina Labyrinth turned out to be only accessible when they had conquered the other 4 great labyrinths, so they decided to continue their journey and look for another labyrinth. Shi volunteered to accompany Hajime and Yu on their journey of conquering the labyrinth. Even though Hajime refused, Yu instead allowed Shi to join them on their journey to find the Great Labyrinth because she had considerable strength and could help them complete the challenges in the labyrinth. Finally, Hajime complied and allowed Shi to come with him. After that, Hajime and the others found the Great Risen Labyrinth, a labyrinth that didn't allow anyone in it to use magic power. Since the structure inside the labyrinth frequently changed over time, they were having difficulty determining the way out of the labyrinth. However, because of the solid cooperation of the 3 of them, they finally succeeded in conquering the labyrinth. They met the creator and the caretaker of the labyrinth, a woman named Mildy Risen, in the form of a golem. Because they had successfully conquered the Great Risen Labyrinth, Hajime and the others were given knowledge of gravity magic, namely the power to control gravity. Mildy Risen told them that the concept of the Great Risen Labyrinth is force challengers to clear obstacles without the aid of magic. After that, Hajime and the others were thrown out through the water channel, and since she couldn't swim, she had difficulty breathing underwater and drowned. Hajime rushed to Shi's aid and performed CPR to save her life. Long story short, Hajime and the others then continued their journey and arrived at the city of Furin, where they met the Adventurers Guild, a man named Ilwa Chang, who asked Hajime and the others for help to go to the northern mountain range and investigate the whereabouts of some adventurers that disappeared there. Among those was the 3rd son of a count that Ilwa was well acquainted with, Wilkudada. Because Ilwa offered some money and full support if he ever got into trouble with the guild, Hajime then agreed to his request. Hajime and the others rushed to Northern Mountain and accidentally met his homeroom teacher, Eiko Hatayama, and some of his classmates who were on a mission there. Eiko was shocked to discover that Hajime was still alive and asked about what happened inside the labyrinth. Hajime then told all he experienced when he fell into the abyss and his struggle to conquer the labyrinth. Not only that, but he told Eiko that one of his classmates wanted to kill him on purpose. Eiko was shocked to hear Hajime's words because she did not expect that one of her students would act like that to their own friend. The next day, Eiko and Hajime's classmates decide to help Hajime carry out his mission. Hajime and others managed to find the whereabouts of Wilkudada, as well as the footprints of a giant monster. However, not long after, a giant black dragon attacked them. Yu rushed to protect Eiko and the others while Hajime and Shi fought the black dragon. After defeating the black dragon, Hajime attacked its vital points so that the black dragon transformed into a woman named Tio Claris. Tio told Hajime and the others that she had been brainwashed and controlled by someone wearing a black robe. She then informed that person controlled the other monsters and planned to destroy the city. With the help of Tio, Hajime and the others then prepared themselves for the attack. Using sufficient magic power, weapons, and solid cooperation, Hajime and the others finally managed to subvert the monsters and found the mastermind controlling the monsters, who was none other than Yukitoshi Shimizu, one of Hajime's classmates. Shimizu turns out to be using his dark magic to control the monsters. Shimizu then teamed up with Rias, a demon who asked Shimizu to kill Eiko and offered him fame and glory amongst the demons. After monitoring the situation from afar, Rias was about to kill Eiko but was thwarted by Shi, so the attack hit Shimizu and left him dying. Hajime managed to find Rias' whereabouts, but the demon managed to escape. Because Eiko was hit by a deadly poison from Shimizu's attack, Hajime then helped Eiko by drinking the healing water directly from his mouth. After that, he decided to kill Shimizu and get rid of his suffering. Hajime and the others then took Wilkudada to meet Ilwa, who was very happy that Will had survived. Hajime then accepted Tio's presence as his new companion. The next day, Hajime and she decide to take a walk in the city of Furin and save a young Dagon girl named Mayu, who is hiding in a sewer because she wants to avoid her captors, a criminal organization called Freydorf. Hajime then handed Mayu over to the authorities so they could protect Mayu. But then, Hajime found out that Mayu had been kidnapped again, so he decided to save her. He asked Yu, Shi, and Tio for help to destroy the criminal organization that had kidnapped Mayu and defeated all their members who were all over the city. After that, Hajime blew up their base, leaving Freydorf completely destroyed. Hajime had saved Mayu's life, and Mayu then addressed Hajime as Papa and looked very spoiled to him. After finishing the business in the city of Furin, Hajime and the others then went to the city of Harad, the birthplace of Oscar Orcus, and the entrance to the Great Orcus Labyrinth. Unexpectedly, Hajime met one of his classmates, a young man named Kusuke Endou, who was very surprised to see him had survived and conquered the Great Orcus Labyrinth. Kusuke then told Hajime that he and his friends were attacked by a female demon named Catalia and the monsters while inside the Great Orcus Labyrinth. He managed to rise to the surface because of his friend's struggle, who had high hopes for him to bring reinforcements. Kusuke then tried to convince Hajime to help their classmates. Hajime finally agreed to help Kusuke and their classmates. It didn't take long for Hajime to defeat Catalia and the monsters. When Catalia refused to reveal her true plan, Hajime shot Catalia and killed her. On the other hand, Kaori looked so happy that she had tears in her eyes at being able to meet Hajime again. After he fell into the deepest abyss, Kaori apparently did everything to find and save Hajime, but her efforts always failed. After they all got out of the labyrinth, Kaori confesses her love for Hajime. However, Hajime rejects Kaori's declaration of love because he already has Yu and considers her his girlfriend. Not giving up, Kaori insisted on joining Hajime's journey to conquer the labyrinth. Even though Hajime refused, Yu didn't mind and accepted Kaori as her companion. Hajime, Yu, Kaori, Shi, Tio, and Mayu then continue their journey to Mayu's hometown, and the first season of this anime series ended. The moral that can be learned from this anime is never to underestimate someone just because he is weak, because true strength does not come from people who have great strength over others. Still, true strength comes from people who do not have any strength but are willing to muster all their strength to save others and even sacrifice their lives for them.